You ready? Aloha, Tashi Delay. Now we're into the third day of the Tibetan New Year, year of the space or metal rat, male metal rat, which is supposed to be very auspicious for all signs according to Chinese and Tibetan astrology. We present this class every Thursday night to train the mind in the shamanistic practices of Tibetan Buddhism, commonly called shamanistic Lamaism. I'm Lama Tashi, and we do this every Thursday, 6 to 8 o'clock. And then for those that live on the opposite side of the planet and watch this program, it is recorded on our website, Kagyu Tupten Choling, Kwai Tibetan Buddhist Dharma Center. Tonight we are going to introduce the practices that are called deity yogas of Chenrezig and the powerful aspect of Chenrezig called Mahakala. When we use the Mahakala, it is used as a mind training practice to understand how power, compassion, and insight work together, with devotion to the Lama as the source of this compassion, power, and insight. The devotion is important because without that, we don't have a strong connection to the mind transmission, which comes from the Lama and the lineages, all the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism, which are traced back and have been in operation since Shakyamuni Buddha, about 2,600 years ago. When we give these teachings, it's based on the oral transmission of these teachers. It is not dogmatic, although there are many texts and Dharma instructions, probably innumerable, that we can refer to for help in retraining or restructuring the mind's true nature, which is innate in all of it. This nature is called Buddha nature, and the simplest way to develop it is understand that it's naturally occurring. It's part of our consciousness. And as we connect to it, we more and more adapt or increase the capacity to understand and use it. And in that way, it becomes more and more valuable to the practitioner of this tradition. To give you a little understanding, my root Lama is Kala Rinpoche, and he came to the Western world of Hawaii in the 70s, and now I just returned from Maui from the 7-day Mahakala practice, and this book was given to me by the director of the Maui Dharma Center, Georgiana Cook, who's the director, and Lama Gelson's assistant. So Kala Rinpoche was very prolific. This book, which is prolific, is, as you can see, quite voluminous. But in it, it has instructions on understanding meditation and the mind of practice. Before we take refuge, I'm going to read a little bit of this. When you are at rest, connecting to the utter transparency of your mind, the ability to focus in the immediate present is how you don't lose this connection. This transparent emptiness is the essence of mind, is the basic mode of being, with no real existence whatsoever, is called the Dharmakaya. It's an utterly unimpeded radiance. It is clear, lucid awareness of the natural state of consciousness, which is called bare awareness. And this is connected to the mind of the teacher, called the Dharmakaya. This nature in its own, as the teacher giving the transmission, is called the Mahakala. Kaya means vehicle. When you rest in this under transparency without losing it, that is what we call connecting to the ultimate nature, which is equal to the nature of the entire universe. When the mind is still, the nature of these three vehicles, the Dharmakaya, the deity yogas, which are called the energy bliss program, Sambhogakaya, and those two in the teacher giving the transmission to us is called the Nirmanakaya. With these three, when any thoughts or appearances of the six groups of emotional consciousness arise, they are being essentially recognized without any real existence whatsoever. The radiance of the natural mind is unimpeded as the form. The dynamic arising of various thoughts that apprehend the form is the teacher, the Nirmanakaya. Then within itself, any real or external or internal existence is transparent emptiness. This is called the Dharmakaya, the all-pervasive nature like space. These two, inseparable in every being, operate since forever, is clean, lucid, and awake, and their energy result causing experiences and realization is called the Sambhogakaya. If this mind is moving, it is not beyond the nature of these three kayas. The mind as such is free from all contrivance or manipulation, concern, or fixation. This awake, natural, empty, aware mind is simply asking for recognition. It is called the mind of nowness. It exists primordially in the present moment. And in that way, it is called the natural mind. Being primordially pure of delusion, apprehending all attributes and so on, it is not defiled by thought of the three times and is actually free of any mental construct. Since it never leaves the present moment of apprehending, this becomes the fourth time, or what is called timelessness. It is also called primordial purity. It is free of the three aspects out of four, which we call states of recognition. All phenomena of samsara, which is the emotional state of existence, and nirvana, which is called the peaceful state of existence, are brought to completion. Since it is straight down the center between any extremes, actually beyond all extremes, such as existence, non-existence, good or bad, both or neither, it is called the Great Middle Way. And since it is like the life force, it is the heart of the precious, absolutely awakening heart, which is the center focus of all of our practice. In beginning, it is revealed that in this middle way, it is constantly maintained by practice. And in the end, no more practice is necessary. It maintains itself. And when it is actualized and stabilized, that is the fruition of practice. This is presented by all the great beings of the path. It is continually involved in all activities, just as and is called the external great completion. It is all three kayas of the mind of nowness. One who has come to this domain of great union, urging this together with the world in a single lifetime is called a Buddha. Now this goes on to give more explanation, but I think at this point, before we take refuge tonight, you should know that this is a great part of the deity yoga. It is actually the basis, called the foot of meditation, voidness or emptiness. The head of meditation is the mind itself recognizing this state. The actual practice is using whatever methods presented by the lamas of this tradition, individually applied, since each and every one of us is different. That is what we are going to contemplate for a few moments. And to do that, you simply bring yourself, your consciousness, your awareness to the present moment. And without any contrivance, without any method needed, simply relax in this state of awareness. It is helpful to contemplate it like you would the mother element of space. And connecting to this contemplative state of the natural mind, we use the universal sound Om as the vibration of this lucid state of clarity and awareness. And we attach that sound to all our mantric sounds, including and also to the aspect of our own form body. I'm going to show you a picture of my teacher when he stayed with us in 1974 on Maui. And this picture of him he was dressed this way and photographed and painted by my good friend Carmen. And it was on their land with us that he stayed and gave us many instructions and set a really good example. That became the first site of the first stupa on Maui. And not far from there is our present Maui Dharma Center, which for the past week, during the Mahakala, over 100 people took part in that purification practice. And part of that we are going to practice tonight using the deities Chenrezi, the red tar Pema Condro, and the six-armed white Mahakala, representing wealth, good health, power, insight, and compassion, which I'll explain more as we proceed through this class. Now, before we take refuge, the transmission was given to us to understand that all of what is presented is based on the Sanskrit alphabet as it was presented to all of the Tibetan countries of northern India, Tibet, and Mongolia. And to know this or hear it establishes a resonance in one's mind and body. The Sanskrit alphabet is called the Ali Kali, and I'm going to read it as it was transmitted to Tibet. A, E, E, U, Ri, Li, A, O, Kaka, Kakana, Tata, Tadana, Tata, Tadana, Tadayanata, Tadadanata, Tadadanapa, Papa, Babawa, Mahayam, Rala, Sha, Shi, Sa, Ha, Sha. That is the 32 letters of the Tibetan Sanskrit, which pervaded the 8 dialects of Tibet, Mongolia, and 8 northern Himalayan countries on the border of India, from Nepal to all the way to Ladakh. When we say this mantra, we dedicate it with Om Ye Dharma, He Tu Prabhava, He Tu Teshana, Tata Gataya, Hayata, Dashakata, Yoni, Rodawa, Evam, Badi, Maha, Shamana, Soha. When we say the 100-syllable mantra to purify any mispronunciation of these syllables. Om Bhaja Sakya Samaya, Manapalaya, Bhaja Sakya Dena, Pita Vida Mebala, Suto Kayo Mebala, Suto Kayo Mebala, Manayaka Mebala, Shawa Shedi Mentra Yasi Shawa Kama Sutsani, Sutsan Sri Ankuri Hum, Hulu Bhagawan, Sayo Sakya Sakya Bhaja Mani, Bhaja Bhaja, Maha Samaya Sakya Kama. Now we'll take refuge. And first we'll say it in English and then chant it in Tibetan Sanskrit. In order to train enlightenment for ourselves and the sentient beings, our mothers, we now all together take refuge and offer prostration. We go for refuge to all glorious holy ones. We go for refuge to all the hidden deities gathered in our mandala. We go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who conquered the mind and gone beyond. We go for refuge to all the supreme Dharma. We go for refuge to all the noble Sangha. We go for refuge to all the Dakas and Dakinis who are the protectors and defenders of the Dharma. All of these possess the eye of transcending awareness. To the Buddha, Dharma, and this supreme assembly, we go for refuge until enlightenment. May I, through merit gained from practicing the 6 bodhisattva discipline, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. And I'll chant the altruistic motivation in Tibetan, and then we'll all say the refuge and the bodhisattva prayer together in Sanskrit. Dang dang yo dang ge da dang yang ge sen sen dang ge Judy ne Zhenju Ningpo Achi Bari. Now we chant the refuge. Holding Mama Dantan Nam Chaksu Chiyo Yunam Chakorgi Vaso Nam Chaksu Chiyo Ranjay Chum Dinde Nam Chaksu Chiyo Nampe Chur Nam Chaksu Chiyo Rabbe Ganju Nam Chaksu Chiyo Pao Ganjo Chotyum Shume Shum Vishwe Ti Shentam Dempa Nam Lam Chaksu Chiyo Sanjay Chodam Chokti Chodam Nam Yantu Paryu Dagi Chaksu Chiyo Dagi Jinsu Jipe Sunam Tola Sanjay Sanjay Zupam Shom. For this practice tonight, the six bodhisattvas we call disciplines: generosity, morality, patience, perseverance, meditative focus, and the development of insight into avoidance. These six are the basis of all the Shine practices of Tibetan Buddhism. When we moved into deity yoga, which is called the path of skillful means, then we enter to what is called the peaceful deity practices, the protector practices, prayers of aspiration of how we use these first 8 disciplines, and the intentional connecting to the pure intrinsic state of the natural mind called timeless awareness. That's the 10th. So those 10 disciplines produce the bodhisattva's training, and when they are completed or in union, that means accomplished, then one is a Buddha. And at that moment of recognition or realization is a better word, you don't become a Buddha. You attain realization of that level of your conscious intuitive awareness, which is your natural state. But most importantly, you have everything in place of how to use them for the benefit of infinite sentient beings, which are constantly filling this universe. Kind of like a small waterfall constantly filling a vase. It fills and overflows, and fills and overflows. That's what we call sentient existence. And in this universe, sentient beings pervade the entire universe. Of course, we know the animals and humans take birth on planet, and the spirits pervade everything. They're everywhere. All of these originated in the human condition. So to use that situation, compassion is the head of meditation. So the basis of it is emptiness. So that's the foot of meditation. Compassion for these limitless sentient beings is the purpose of all of these practices, to retrain our consciousness to accept its own natural pure state. But at the same time, alleviate the pain and suffering of these 6 categories of emotional existence and drain them. In other words, bring each and every one of these animals, humans, and spirits, which we all have a relationship with. All of them are integrated into each one of us individually, to understand and use their own true nature, this natural state of intrinsic clarity awareness. In order to do that, we develop the body, speech, and mind of the individual with three sounds. As I've already mentioned, the Om, which is the basic sound of the intrinsic nature of our natural mind. That we apply to the body and to the Guru, the Lama Guru, who's giving us the transmission. But also we receive this transmission with the sound of energy itself, which is attributed to how the body conveys or speaks. And that's the Ah. That's the sound of energy itself. Energy can be understood as the five elements. But beside, in union with that, are five states of intrinsic awareness that purify all this emotional conflict that we all suffer from. Then these two together is the mind transmission of the Guru, or Lama, that presents the method. And with this instruction, it's not only for the body and the speech, but it's also for understanding the mind, its nature, and how to use it. That's called wisdom development. So again, Om, visualize the white light. Ah is the energy of the elemental nature of the universe itself and our consciousness connecting. That's Ah. Then those two together combine to produce the healing effect that brings all of us to remove pain and suffering and connect to our true nature as the ultimate state of the evolutionary process of the human condition. And understanding that all the animals, all the spirits, and all the humans that exist originate and return to the human condition. Om, 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 Om. So think your Lama Guru is in front of you or above your head, however you have respect and devotion. And from the three places of the Lama's head, throat, and heart, these three sounds are coming into you, establishing these three spheres with energy accomplishment within the central channel of your life force. White light from the Lama's head enters into your head, red light from the Lama's throat into your throat, and blue light from the Lama's heart chakra to your heart chakra. Developing these three. With this growth and development, one reaches full evolution of this bodhisattva training to become Buddha. Where you're sounding this through the three lights coming into you. This is like the three empowerments or support in the Lama's transmission and of all the lineage masters of the last 2,600 years, transmitted from Shakyamuni Buddha to all the teachers, men and women, down to the present day, to your present Lama, to you, for support in your practice. Then you visualize these three sounds are now located within the central channel of your life force. The Om is a white sphere in your head, Ha in your throat, and blue Om in your heart. The white Om moves down into the red Ah. The red Ah, these two together move down into the Om. The Om, absorbing these three, becomes the natural state of awareness, clarity, and intrinsic devotion and respect, which is necessary because whatever method is presented will be inseparable from the Lama, the Guru, which is taking place outside because of your good karma that having practiced in previous lives, and also inside to develop this mindfully in your present state of consciousness and awareness with your own intuitive recognition. So sit for a moment and allow these three to take hold. The Lama melts into you like water into water. The three kayas are now present in your situation. The Mahakala is the teacher. The Sambodhakaya is the powerful speech. And the Dharmakaya of these two being presented to all sentient beings, your mother. All the practices of Tibetan Buddhism are based on this compassionate attitude. When Kala Rinpoche, our Root Lama, presented this tradition, he advised that all of the Dharma centers of his lineage, which is called the Karma Kagyu or the Shankla Kagyu lineage, these two lineages are based on the deity Chenrezig in India, Avalokiteshvara. And this Buddha stresses not only power and insight, but compassion, limitless compassion. We say, unconditional loving kindness, being the ultimate antidote to all afflictions of the mind. In the same way a mother interacts with her only child, we interact with limitless sentient beings, all of which we have a connection to. There is no such thing as separation. When we develop in this way, the Om, the Ah, and the Hum change into the sound of this compassion, which is Hri. It's spelled H-R-I, and it looks very much like the Hum, except the hook on the bottom moves to the top. And it becomes red. Now this Hri is sounded and placed in the heart center, as I said, is a union of the Om, Ah, Hum, but its nature is unconditional love, loving kindness, and altruistic compassion applied to limitless sentient beings, which we have each and every one connection to. When you generate that, then you become Chenrezig. That Hri in your heart center and that idea of loving kindness and compassion produce this teaching symbol of Chenrezig. He is visualized as young and male aspect, healthy, white in color, dressed in silk as the five elements, five colors of silk, and jewels as symbols of its perfect qualities, and a 5-jewel crown is the connection to not only the three, but other 4 Buddha states of awareness. When you have this symbol, you replace your idea of your physical form with this archetype, this holographic symbol to teach that everything is based on this fluidity, like luminosity. And this takes out the solid, fixed, permanent idea of existence. Then, with this illusory body, it's called the rainbow body, and the 5-jewel crown of the 5 Dhyana Buddhas being your connection of power, insight, and compassion, you start to apply it to the 6 realms of emotionally constricted sentient beings which fill the universe, animals, humans, and spirits, all of it. You start with your own mother that created you and brought you into this world as a mirror image of your symbol of compassion, power, and insight, illusory body applied to all illusory bodies. I mean, mother in front, Chenrezig. Father, friends, relatives, lovers, pets, everybody. You have karmalists, spirits, all Chenrezig. It's easy if you start with just the 8 billion humans on the planet today as this deity. And visualize that in your mind. Then you add to that mandala of light beings all the animals in the ocean and on the land. So that starts to fill up a vast space of your mind. Then you add the 4 realms of emotionally constricted spirits, which are from heaven to hell and in between. They fill space. They're everywhere. In your body, in the planet, everywhere. So in your mind, you have this full mandala of the 4-armed Chenrezig. One hand holds a symbol of compassion, which is a lotus, which symbolizes taking birth as a bodhisattva to help human beings. And the other hand holding a mala or dorje, and then 2 hands of devotional respect in the heart, from the heart. So this 4-arm aspect is applied to all the sentient beings in your mandala. Then you voice the mantra of this to effect the transition of each and every one of them out of the emotional constricted mind into the natural mind of clear awareness where no judgment exists. Judgmental mind, non-judgmental mind, same mind. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om. I have Chenrezig here on my right side, and also the tanka on the wall. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Tree. Now you end with the tree, you're ending in your heart center, which represents the pure natural state of awareness as being a whole, an aspect of the whole universe. That's its natural state. Infinite light pervading the boundless fabric of space. Now you bring all sentient beings in your mandala, all the spirits filling space everywhere, all the animals and humans on planet, as Chenrezig. Bring them into you from every direction. Visualize them. Streaming into you, either all at once, like rain into a lake, or gradually. Your choice. In that way, you can actually visualize some who have very strong karma to this life coming into you, mother, father, friends, relatives, pet, enemy, into your heart center, into you. The three being the nature of this infinite compassion, power, and insight available, working. Once you see yourself as the Chenrezig form in the sky of your mind, then disappear your luminous body, your rainbow body, into the 6 sounds of the mantra which were circling your heart, called the heart mantra. And then, as each one of those, starting with the Om, disappears into the three, those realms of rebirth, all the spirit worlds, all the animal and human world, all become what is called the mind of pure bliss, Dewa Chen. So they are liberated into the pure light, all-pervasive nature of your natural mind. Once this takes place, the three, circled in a 5-colored sphere of light, blends with space. You can do that all at once, or you think it can expand outward and disappear, or contract inward to the tiniest point of light connecting to space like an atom and disappear. Once you've entered into this state of voidness, simply relax as we did at the very first part of this class tonight, with the pointing out instruction of Kala Rinpoche, the natural, intuitive, clear, open, like space. Mind. No judgment. resting in this pure present state of awareness, refine it by not blocking your thoughts or any sensations or experiences of your sensual perception. Allow everything to flow freely, arise from space, appear, and disappear where they came from. At the end of this, we call the completion stage of the practice. The first stage is called the creation phase, when you do the mantra, create the mandala, and visualize limitless sentient beings as deity. This completion stage is where all Dharma practice becomes what we call the fulfillment or fruition of the practice, because it establishes the foot of meditation, avoidance, as applied to everyone and everything. This takes you halfway to what we call full accomplishment or Buddhahood. And in the process, the luminous body of the deity is fulfilling the function of restructuring the mind to take the solid, fixed, grasping aspect of consciousness, dematerialize, allow it to dissipate naturally, so that you don't fixate on experiences, whether they be from your thoughts or from your physical body's sensations, seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, and feeling. So understanding that, then you apply the elemental deity yoga, these are the 5 elements practice. But tonight we're going to do the practice of the red Tara. And this is in preparation for the Chenrezig evolving into what is called the 6-armed protector, Mahakala. And she is presented as red Tara, which is an aspect of the energy of the mind and the sensations producing phenomena. So everything is in light form, experienced through the eyes and other aspects of your sensual awareness. But this light form of the red Tara applies not only to your thoughts, but also to whatever appears through sight, either imaginary or actual. And so we're going to do a short practice of the red peaceful Tara as the complement to the Chenrezig practice, or what we say, the consort support of the outer world to this inner state of altruistically applied compassion, insight, and power. So visualize the 3 lights, Om, Ah, Hum, coming together in your heart center. The Lama in front producing this as red Tara merging into you. You as red Tara with that support projected to your mother in front who created you, then to all mother sentient beings, starting with your own family, friends, relatives, lovers, pets, and so forth, everybody who have karma with this life, and then to all sentient beings existing in this time, all the humans and animals on this planet, and all the spirits pervading space. In time, of course, they all move on, but in the process, limitless more sentient beings take their place. As you project the Tara on yourself as the illusory body of red Tara, and all mother sentient beings filling your mind, the heart mantra appears. Inside a 5-color sphere of light around the soul, long, which looks like this. It's kind of like a numeral letter 1 with a dot over it. But Ram is the Sanskrit sound of fire, which evolves from Kri, from Chenrezig's heart. So this is the practice we'll do now in preparation for the Chenrezig evolving into the 6-armed white Mahakala. Om Tara Tu Tara Turi Ram Hri Soha. 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 Om Tara Tu Tara then all sentient beings in your mandala, infinite in number, stream into you. With this union of all sentient beings, you're the representative, you go to the standing Tara, which is called Pema Kondu, or the lotus Dakini. And she is red in color, naked, only wearing bone ornaments, with a trigger in the sky, which looks like this, in her right hand, and a skull cup full of the nectar of awareness in her heart. And she is to purify this energy field for the white Mahakala to appear, which will be our next battle. So now you are red Tara, Pema Kondu, Pema Dakini, standing, as I just described, on your own body, illusory body, on a 18-petal lotus and sun disk. So you visualize that, and you're in a blazing dome of fire, bright as 1,000 suns. This is your protective aura you project, which is the nature of the universe. Light. Om Pema Kondu, Om Breathe Pema, 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 Om Breathe Pema, Om Pema You visualize all sentient beings purified into Pema Kondu, wherever they exist, in human condition, animal condition, spirit. And all of those light beings merge into Pema Kondu. You're Pema Kondu, you dissolve into the free and the Brahm in your heart center, in the five-color sphere of light, and that expands with the totality of boundless space. And you sit for a moment in this phenomenal situation, totally pure, like your natural mind, clear of all attachment, aversion, pride, jealousy, fear, anxiety, depression, clear. No judgment. Now we'll start the practice and transmission of this six-armed white Mahakala of Shadrupa. Before we start, we invoke all the root and lineage lamas to appear. Then the Om Ahum that we used before for this transmission appear in the three places and all dissolve into the letter Om, but in white, blazing white light, not blue. in a blue-black background with a 5-colored sphere of light. This you see in your heart center. Then 6-arm Mahakala is to be invoked. And we start with invoking the Pema Kondo to cause this energy field to be completely pure of all emotional concept. Om Na Jing Jing Hum Hum Te Te Om Na Jing 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 Hum Hum Te Te So Mahakala Hari Nisa Siddhi Za Ayu Purni Dharma Jana Bhukti Kuru So Then we invoke all the one who do this practice and all of the people on the planet who do this practice of the Chenrezi as the 6-armed white Mahakala. And we're going to read this from the Shadrupa text that we just used for the 7-day practice in Maui and what is also performed in Honolulu and the Big Island, in which we do in this center every day. Holy root and lineage lamas abiding in the 10 directions and 3 times, please grant your blessing. The assembly of deities of the mandala of all the Idams, grant your blessing. Heroes and heroines of Vajra Yogini, grant your blessing. All the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, grant your blessing. The assembly of deities of the glorious 6-armed wisdom protector, may your wisdom not be obscured. May your compassion not be delayed. May your power and ability not be impeded. May your blessings not be attenuated by distance. Grant the blessing of your body, grant the blessing of your speech, grant the blessing of your mind. Grant the inexhaustible blessing of your body, speech, mind, perfect qualities, and activity. Grant your blessing right now. Grant your blessing soon. Grant your blessing right here in this very seat. Lama inseparable from the protector, by this devoted supplication may I and all sentient beings be free from all emotional defilements and judgmental mind, and in the process be granted all cities and accomplishments. So now above your head and in front of you, the Lama appears and gives what is called the 5 lights empowerment. It appears like this: blue light to the head, green light to the throat, white light to the heart chakra, gold light to the navel chakra, and red light to the sex chakra. This is the same manifestation as how the 5 elements are arranged in your physical form, but this is the awareness qualities of the protector. Om, 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 Shan, 3. With these 5 lights shining from the Lama into your 5 places, they all merge into the home, white home in your heart center. So from the top down in the head and throat come into the heart, and from bottom up the sex and the navel chakra. Once is this accomplished, then we move to the second part of the practice, which is the actual function of the deity. I'm going to show you a picture of the deity, which evolved from Chenrezi. So there's the 4-armed Chenrezi. This is from the book of deities. This is how the 6-armed wisdom protector appeared. with a trigger or knife in the sky and holding the 3 jewels in the left hand and a skull cup with light in the right, and a dogger in the lower left and a hook in the lower right, and also a trident in the upper right hand. So these implements represent the power aspects of the 6-armed Mahakala. He's in a blazing dome of flaming light and wears a head of 50 skulls. It has 5 skulls on his head and dressed with all kinds of ornamentations, flowers, bangles, snakes, bells, and a shot top made of tiger skin. And the human skin is his mantle. So, having shown you the visualization of the 6-armed Mahakala, those 6 arms represent the 6-syllable mantra of Omani Padme Hum, in their wrathful aspect to subdue and subjugate wrathful spirits, animals, and humans. Now I'm going to read from the Shadrupa, the second part of this transmission, and then I will give the mantra. And by the way, there are many mantras given by Kala Rinpoche of the Mahakala family. The first mantra we received was the 2-armed Mahakala we call Vajrapani, the Verna Chen in the Karmakagya, which is Om Mama Guru Mahakala Siddhi Hum. So that's the 2-armed. All phenomena become pure and void. Out of emptiness and space appears Yam as fire, from space, Yam from fire, Ram, and above that is Koka from Ah. It is completely filled with the 5 meats and 5 elixirs, all marked by the syllables Hum, Drum, Am, Sin, and Kam. Om, Am, Hum, Tram, Hri, Ram, 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 Yam, Nam. The wind blows, the fire blazes, these substances melt. The elixir of wisdom is drawn from the hearts of all Buddhas and is absorbed into the content. This is ejected as an ocean of elixir of pristine wisdom available to all sentient beings. This is consecrated by all of the skull cup and its contents being stirred by an upside down trigger, and it melts into the skull cup. And when we say this mantra 3 times, as we imagine all of our physical body's contents into that elixir. Om Am Hum Ha Ho Hri. Om Am Hum Ha Ho Hri. Om Am Hum Ha Ho Hri. And with this, the elixir is drawn from the hearts of all Buddhas and cast to all sentient beings. The assembly of wisdom deities accept this as torment, and they drink it with their tongue. As you say this, then we do this practice. This is called the requesting of the deity. 6-armed Mahakala, Shadrupa, Lord of pristine awareness, compassion one of Chenrezi. Your body is white and radiant with light, like a snow mountain. You pacify the poverty of beings. I pay homage and praise to you. Grant me the attainments of numerous desires. please take this offering of wisdom torment. To us practitioners and our fellow companions, please grant freedom from sickness and endow us with long life, power, wealth, glory, fame, and good fortune. May we attain abundant enjoyment. Grant us the activities of practice of peace, increase, and all accomplishment. You who have the sacred bond, protect us. Befriend us in acquiring, be our friend in acquiring all these cities. Rid us of untimely death, sickness, demon influence, hindering, and any other hindering influence. Rid us of bad dreams, inauspicious signs, and negative or evil behavior. May the world be happy, and may this be a good year with the crops growing well and the Dharma flourishing. May there be the best of everything in quality and quantity. Please accomplish all the appropriate wishes we request in our mind. With that prayer to the Lama, then the white Mahakala, as your aspect of Chenrezig, appears in front of you. With these lights entering into you and all coming into your heart center, you become the six-armed white Mahakala. With this aspect, you are accomplishing entertaining the six Buddha fields. Akshobhaya, which means the all-accomplished wisdom of unity. Amagasiti, the all-accomplishing wisdom, auspicious wisdom of the Bodhisattva. Vairakana, the wisdom of clarity and knowledge. Vanasambhava, the clarity of equality and equanimity. And the Buddha field of Amitabha, which is the Buddha field of the discerning awareness of your own mind, able to pacify all negative influence and transform all negative emotional tendencies into positive. That is the purpose of the six-armed Mahakala. And the mantra is twofold. The one that most people learn comes from the long mantra, which I chanted to start with tonight. Guru Mahakala Harinisa Siddhi Za. And then we add to that Om Rama Guru Mahakala Harinisa Siddhi Za Om Te. So whatever mantra you use or been transmitted to you by any Lama is appropriate. But tonight, to bring this transmission to completion in practice, the Mahakala six-armed and the Lama inseparable, as is any deity in Tibetan tradition. Om Rama Guru Mahakala. Harinisa Siddhi. This Harinisa means now you project infinite dakinis of the five kinds, the five realms of awareness, fill space. So Mahakala is the central figure, and your mandala is filled with these dakini to the six realms, taking away, alleviating the suffering of sentient beings and bringing them all to full accomplishment of Buddhahood. That's the accomplishment of the six-armed at the same time while they're in the process of developing, growing, and evolving. They're subjugated. The experience of pain and suffering lessens, and they more and more become completely aware of their own true nature. The natural mind, Buddha mind. Akshobhaya Buddha is above the head of white Mahakala, which means everything is in union, no separation, no distance doesn't hinder this process, anywhere and everywhere. Om Guru Mahakala Hari Siddhiza Hum Te. Om Guru Mahakala Hari Siddhiza Hum Te. Om Guru Mahakala Hari Siddhiza. Za means accomplished wealth, health, everything appropriate. Om, in the wisdom of union. Te, all obstruction, cut, remove, all negative influence, remove. Om So the bell and this Damaru drum are to call the Dakini. Paranisa Siddhiza. Paranisa Siddhiza. Hey, when you chant this mantra, you visualize infinite number of dakinis arising around you, attracted from the five Buddha realms, and from all the Lama gurus of 3 times in 10 directions. That means from everywhere. And that includes the 3 classes of dakinis: the wisdom dakinis, the celestial dakinis, and the worldly dakinis. all attractive, all entering into your support. Now, the basis of the Mahakala practice is the accomplishment of the red Tara or any Tara practice and the Omani Pemihun Chenri Z practice. These two together evolved into the red Dakini as the opening support practice, Vajra Yogini, Pema Kondu, many different names for that. And then the six-arm Mahakala practice, white Mahakala practice. When doing this practice, imagine that all sentient beings are your support, and they all appear as Dakini. And then at the end of the practice session, then all of these Dakinis melt into you. And you, the six-arm Mahakala, enter into the blazing white home with the mantra. And all the six realms purify. Then you rest in the state of your own clear nature. You disappear with the mantra into the white home, and the home circled in a five-color sphere of light, lens with the all-pervasive nature of space, like space. This is the picture of Kala Rinpoche as he appeared in Hawaii on many islands. He blessed our Dharma Center in Honolulu. He's been to Kauai many times when he was young, the Big Island, Big Valley Temple, and other Dharma centers, and Maui, which is our primary center, and Oahu, Mama Rinchen. I'm going to read this prayer of supplication and aspiration to the Lama to finish this practice tonight. Magical forms appear without break from relationships and coincidence. The Lama of appearance as a symbol arises around me. Indestructible this stance of magical form. In experiencing appearances and emptiness is naturally free. I pray to you, the Lama, for this accomplishment. Please bless me with understanding of the activity of the appearing Dharmakaya and the resulting deity. Sounds and voices of all kinds come without break from different sources and conditions. The Lama of sound as mantra arises intermediately. Inconceivable this concert of melody and song. And experiencing sound and emptiness is naturally free as the state of the mantra. I pray to you. Bless me with direct understanding of unceasing bliss energy of the deity Sambhogakaya form. Thoughts and memories of different things, indescribable awareness, which is no thing. The ultimate Lama of awareness arises within. Limitlessly apply this appearance of thoughts and memory to the experience of bliss, clarity, and emptiness. I pray to you, bless me with the direct understanding of the unborn Dharmakaya as my own true nature. In all these ways, all phenomena, appearances, experiences, sounds, thoughts, and so forth are simply signs to me to understand the direct nature of being. These are solely the expression of my glorious Lama. And recollecting your great kindness, I pray to you. Bless me with the direct understanding of the natural nature of being of all phenomena and in union with my consciousness. Whole oceans of the three roots everywhere present dance like moons in the water of the student's devotion. They may never be anything but the venerable Lama himself or herself. In the experience of perfection of all capabilities, I pray to you for this accomplishment. Bless me with the fusion of my mind with yours. Bless me with the surrender of ego fixation. Bless me with the birth of being without needs. Bless me with the full development of loving kindness and altruistic compassion. Bless me with the birth of uncontrived devotion. Bless me with the cessation of materialistic thinking and neediness. Bless me with the subsiding of confusion on its own ground. Bless me with the direct understanding of Mama Mudra, the nature of being. Bless me with the attainment of Buddhahood in its fruition in this single lifetime. From now until I attain enlightenment, I wear the joy of perfect discipline, ethics, morality, and so forth. Enriched with the ability and equanimity of bodhicitta, may I see the phases of the development and completion stage for their natural fulfillment. With no distinction between the mind of the student and the teacher, may full enlightenment be attained effortlessly. Then you arrive as the six-armed Chenrezig, or Tara, or continue your practice to the completion of those so that the completion and effect of the Mahakala will function properly. Homage to the Guru, jhana Shana Manata, the Sadhura of Mara, who displays the great white body and is the wondrous emanation of the compassion symbol of Shemaizi. Having bowed before the Lama inseparable from that protector, I will organize and set forth the supplement of the expanding version of this Dharma practice for the benefit of all sentient beings. Now that was the final dedication of everything in this book, which was chanted 3 times every day on a so we call feast practice at the end of every day's practice for an entire week, so that all beings benefit, and specifically here for the fulfillment of the Dharma in Hawaii, and of course from the mainland United States and Canada. When doing protector practice, you want to make as many aspirations, tashi prayers, and dedications as you can. So tonight we're going to finish with the dedication prayer that we say at the end of every session. Kewadi Durdu Dam, Shagya Chepa Durdu Ning, Lowa Chinki Malu Tam, Maybe Sala Kopasham, Sanjay Kusumi Bhajan Madam, Shoni Never Dim Bhajan Madam, Kendi Mitchell Dim Bhajan Madam, Chita Dim Madam, that is virtue of having realized Mahamudra, may it quickly establish every being in that state without a single exception. By the blessing of the 3 bodies of the Buddha being accomplished, by the blessing of the unchanging truth of the Dharma, and by the blessing of the wishes of us, the Sangha, being unwavering, may this dedication pray be fulfilled. May all the lamas have long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity. And may all their wishes be fulfilled. May all beings be happy, free of suffering, established in bliss, and become emotionally stable, releasing all attachment, aversion, pride, jealousy, greed, anxiety, depression, and fear. In this year, may all beings be happy and all their appropriate wishes be accomplished. Juchi Te. Much aloha. Have a very auspicious year. Happy Osam.
No, thank you, Lama Tashi, and thank you, Abby.
Juicy dreams.
Oh, yes, that would be nice. Thank you. Aloha.
There's Abby.
Aloha.
Hi, Abby.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.